Number three is the 5 moments of need. So these are in the corporate world, this is when people look for new information. And I think it applies in normal life too. But the moments are when you're learning something for the first time, when you're learning more, when you're trying to apply what you've learned, when things go wrong, and when things change. So when you're learning something for the first time, you're kind of a blank slate outside of previous knowledge, right? You're coming in, you're teaching something for the very first time. And how do you do that? Well, that's probably going to be a class, right? And ILT is instructor-led training, be it a virtual classroom, be it a live classroom, there's a human involved. So people come to the table when they're learning more and they already have knowledge. They're trying to go deeper. At that point, what do? They can go watch videos, they can read blogs, they can watch an animation, they can, play a game or do a scenario. That's where your self-taught stuff comes into play. Apply what you've already learned. That's going to be your bite-sized learning, right? That's your little chunks, that's your FAQs, your product summaries. Reliable performance support tools are what people are looking for when they need to apply what they've learned. They don't need an instructor or a facilitator or a trainer. They need a guide. They need a guide, a reference guide that they can go through to help. When things go wrong, we're sitting here, we're working in WebEx, whatever, and something goes wrong. What do we do? How do we problem solve that? I can't say, oh, hey guys, hang on a second. I got to go take a class to learn how WebEx works or how Zoom works, right? We need an immediate answer. We need a help system. We need a product manual. We need a blog. We need Google searching. That's the kind of tool that we need, right? And then when things change. So if you've got a system that you've got, for example, my banking system, where I would imagine at the school you're at, there was some kind of a student management system or Blackboard. When they do an update in the system and they add some new features, do you need to go to class for that? No, you don't. What you need is you need an email, you need a newsletter, you need some kind of a notification that happens inside the system, something that tells you there's something new. What you do with this information is it guides you with where you go when somebody comes to you with a problem and says, we need a course on blah, whatever that might be. And you take a step back and you go, wait a minute, which moment of need are we trying to apply this to? And you can look at this and go, well, maybe we don't need a class. Maybe we could just make a job aid. That's what you do with this, is trying to understand the problem, because a lot of times my role as an instructional designer, it's not to build a class. It's to be a consultant and to come in and help solve the problem. It's kind of like people don't know what they don't know. So they immediately are used to saying, I need to take a class on this, or we need a course on this. So there are instructional designers out there who act in the role of order taker. And somebody comes in and says, we need a course on this. You go, okay, fine, great, and you make it. Well, you've probably now spent potentially a month and a half solving a problem that maybe, if you go back to your digital taxonomy, maybe the problem only needed an understanding or a remembering or an applying. And it doesn't need a full course. It just needs a job aid. And you could have knocked it out in maybe a day. That's part of the role, is being a problem solver as well as an order taker. And in my world, I can tell you that a course is like my last answer. If I don't have to make a course, I don't want to make a course, because it's the most expensive thing a company can make. And that's a different take on it probably than you hear in the educational world, because when I make a course, it's my time for a month and a half-ish, depending on the length of the course. It's a subject matter expert for some of that time. It's potentially another developer. So a course is the most expensive thing to make, because it takes my time as a designer and a developer. Usually it takes about a month and a half to make a 45-minute course that might be e-learning. If there's an instructor involved, that instructor has time. There's a subject matter expert who has time that's tied to that. When we do the class and we send everybody to class, all those employees have time in that classroom. So if it's a half a day class or a full day class, or God forbid it's a 3 to 5 day class, right? All of those people have to come off of the floor, and there's no work getting done from those people because they're in training. So if I can take a day and make a job aid or some kind of a tool, a reference guide of some sort, or a checklist, or something that can help them out, or a quick video that I can record, or an animation that I can make, those things are so much cheaper and more beneficial to the business than a class. Does that make sense?
Yes,
So-
absolutely.
Is
Yeah,
this all part
completely, and-
of, I'm sorry, go ahead,
You were asking a question, is this all part of something what?
of the assessment when we're going down to Addie? I'm just trying to make sense and
Sure.
Of
When you-
everything.
We're at
This
Addie,
is all
right?
in-
That's where you were? Where's
yes,
my-
this is all in assessment when you're trying to
Bam,
understand.
analyze. Yes.
Uh-huh.
It's all part of the analyze and the design
analyze.
stages. Yes. I spend a lot of time in the analyze and design because I don't want to spend a lot of time in the develop if I can avoid it.
Just going to mention that this is a very easy tool that really summarizes what you really want to do or not do
Mhm.
very, very well. I love it.
Well, thank you. Well, you're going to love this next